Do 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 do. Tony Danger, Tony. He's a history professor.
Super dangerous. Nope, I can't think of a rhyme.
Taking down baddies named Jonas.
Hello.
Hi.
So this is going to be a different episode. It's
movie review time. Because we want to.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm in like 80s jingle mode. I don't know.
So before we started the podcast, we thought it would be cool to come up with a way. I guess we love watching cheesy horror movies first of all, or just cheesy old movies in general. And it was during a tea time where we started talking about this one actually that we're going to be talking about today.
Kate just wanted to get her bone.
I know, and she got it, and she's so proud of herself.
If she stays over there, it might not be too bad.
I don't know.
Anyway, the movie we started talking about during a tea time because we watched it and it was delightfully dreadful.
Yeah. But sometime around there, we decided that it might be fun to occasionally have a podcast episode where we talk about and review these really, really bad movies. And we decided to sort of use movie reviews as sort of a way to do like filler episodes if we don't have time to
or if we're going to be
research.
Traveling for times like that. And
That
we
was
thought
the
a movie
first
review
one.
would be fun because we've watched this movie and it's terrible and wonderful.
Yep.
And I actually have a little bit of history,
We're going to tell you guys all about it.
and you have a little bit of information as well. But what's
So-
movie? What movie did we watch? Do you want to tell us? This is gonna be fun because we haven't actually practiced or done.
I know
Even discussed how this is gonna roll out.
We just
said,
decided to
"Let's
put
do
the
it."
microphones in front of our faces and start talking.
It's gonna be like a stream of consciousness type thing.
Also different from how we usually record is we have the door open to the little podcast place that we record in, and all of the animals are running around.
Gonna visit us. Yep. There goes a kitten on my keyboard.
Oh no.
Hi, buddy.
You can't do that with my keyboard, dude. You're going to mess something up.
Yeah. I just added a line of 5s across my screen. Cool. It's okay.
So yeah, the movie we're
this is gonna be
reviewing
fun.
that we watched is called Treasure of the Four Crowns.
Bum bum bum.
It came out January 21st, 1983, and it was in 3D.
3D. Okay, I'm going to throw my history in right here
Yeah, go for it.
because of things I didn't know at the time. That when we first watched it, like the filming of this, there are so many scenes where items and things are coming directly towards the screen, and we're like,
you.
this is like the weirdest choice in producing history. And it actually turns out that the movie was filmed in 3D. So they did all these special effects aiming towards the camera to kind of build up off of that, which is just funny.
Like 3D movies still do today.
Yeah,
they're always those gratuitous 3D movie shots of things flying at the audience.
But these were like...
There were a
He's
lot.
like, I'm going to hand you this rope. And he hands it right into the camera, like up close, and then takes it back. Like, it's just so... It's like they're staging the whole 3D shot.
Yeah.
And then they don't edit it or whatever. I don't know. They don't make it look smoother or whatever, which is kind of wonderful. I mean, I grew up in the 80s when 3D first got... Well, I thought 3D was invented in the 80s.
As did I, but it just saw a revival in the 80s.
It just saw a revival, and I think like tech actually got to a point where it could be done without being overpriced, exorbitantly expensive for filming, or clunky or difficult to produce or show the pictures. Okay, this is really cool because I did not know this. The basic components of 3D film were introduced separately between 1833 and 1839. Which is like, what? I don't even think of the late 1800s as... I mean, I know they had cameras and stuff, but like in my brain, it just doesn't compute just that there were movies, but they were talking, or the silent films and all that.
Hang on. To put that in context, let's see, when I talked about two guns,
Yeah.
what was that date you gave? You said
1833 and 1839.
that's insane. So like the Apache raids and the Navajo going after that Apache raiding party, that happened in 1878.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That does not compute.
So yeah, put that in context.
And what, like, let's see, Eloise Butler was born in 1860s, 1845. You told me all this and I don't remember.
Oops.
No later than that, because she died in the late 1980s.
1851.
1851.
And
Dolly Shepard was late 1800s, because she just died in the 82 or something at like 9. Yeah. I'm looking up
Dolly
at the cards.
Shepard was born in 1886.
And what about Annie?
And Annie Smith Peck was born in 1850.
So prior to those amazing women and the Apache raid, there was a form of 3D film in the 1830s.
Which is crazy.
Which is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Joseph Plateau developed stroboscopic animation in 1832, which he published in 1833 in the form of a stroboscopic disc, which he later called the Fantascope. And I just I love the old names.
I know.
It's a Fantascope. So yeah, the 1830s is when this first started kind of coming into development. And the first practical forms of photography were introduced in 1839. And these elements combined with the animated stereoscopic photography were kind of conceived but not really put into use. Because it says it was not possible to capture motion in real-time photographic recordings due to the long exposure times necessary for the light-sensitive emulsions that were used at the time. Yeah, so it kind of goes through the 1840s where they kind of start practicing and kind of trying to make this work better. In 1852, Jules Dubosc, he had already been marketing Joseph Plateau's Fantascope, and he added his concept of stereoscope / Fantascope / bioscope to his own patent. So yeah, it just kind of developed from there, but everything that was used in those early days is just too clunky, too bulky, too long of a process. They couldn't really do moving pictures because of the processing time, and it was just kind of clunky and bulky to do anything. One of the familiar early pictures, 1877, the Daily Alta newspaper announced a project that showed a moving picture of horses running in full speed, which was one of the first times this was ever done. And to me, like I grew up kind of in a horse world, so for me this is a well-known little movie clip.
Oh,
And it's just a few seconds of a horse running, but it was one of the first things that showed that horses have a moment of suspension where all 4 feet are off the ground. So I think it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my little horsey thing. Anyway, let's talk about this crazy movie that we watched.
okay.
Because I can go on about the history of 3D forever, but I'm not gonna.
So the movie stars and was produced by Tony Anthony and Gene Quintano. Tony Anthony, or Tony, or Tony Danger Tony, as we like to call him, because of course his middle name is Danger.
Tony Danger Tony.
He plays the lead character, JT Stryker.
You don't learn his name till
You don't learn his name
a quarter
till
of the way through the film.
Yeah,
like
20 minutes in the film they say his last name, and then you don't know his first name until like several
until the
scenes
actual
later.
like heist. I don't know if we want to call it a heist. The adventure.
So he plays the lead, and his friend / tech guy / comic relief / conscience, sort of.
Wait, the IRS guy?
Yeah, this guy fills a lot of roles.
He did. I call him the IRS guy because his whole beginning argument
Tax-free.
is, this guy's living tax-free. This guy isn't paying taxes. He's not paying tax. Like, I get the number of times he mentions this guy's lack of paying taxes. I'm like, okay, I don't know this guy's name because you don't learn that until like halfway through the movie either.
Yeah, they call him Ed,
Ed.
but apparently his full name
name's
is
IRS.
Edmund.
Oh, Edmund.
According
no,
to
it's
IMDb.
IRS.
Yeah.
It's IRS guy.
So that's Gene Quintano. That's the role he plays.
He was the executive co-producer? What was he?
Co-producer.
Co-producer,
Yep.
okay.
Directed by Fernando Baldi. And also starring Jerry Lazarus, Emiliano Redondo, Francisco Rabal, and Ana Obregon.
I think this was filmed in Italy, I want to say.
Spain. And Italy. And
okay.
the U.S.
And the U.S.?
Well, the U.S. helped produce it. It wasn't filmed in the U.S. at all.
Okay.
But yeah, the U.S. had a hand in the production.
Oh. Okay, stay there, kitten. You...
He's winking at me, and I don't know why. Zirin just started winking at me.
Zirin danger, Zirin. That is his middle name.
Anyway,
Not because he's like after danger. He is a danger.
He is a danger to himself and others. So Tony Danger.
Tony Danger Tony.
Stars in this film. And the first scene in this movie is a Star Wars exposition scroll of words across the screen.
With absolutely no punctuation and poor layout, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Zero punctuation. The kerning is weird. The tracking is weird. It's all weird.
The opening scroll reads, "In the universe, there are things man cannot hope to understand, powers he cannot hope to possess, forces he cannot hope to control." I'm doing it without punctuation. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. You have to read it all in one breath. There's no punctuation. Oh,
Hang on. I got to start over because the kitty just walked on my screen.
Oh, we're embracing the chaos today.
In the universe, there are things man cannot hope to understand, powers he cannot hope to possess, forces he cannot hope to control. Can't do it. Okay. I'm going to do it. This one's going to be the winner.
Deep breath.
I can't do the deep breath thing because I can't. In the universe, there are things man cannot hope to understand, powers he cannot hope to possess, forces he cannot hope to control. The 4 crowns are such things, yet the search has begun. A soldier of fortune takes the first step. He seeks a key that will unlock the power of the 4 crowns and unleash a world where good and evil collide. And I feel like I punctuated that with too many pauses.
You did.
Out of habit.
That's okay.
Little kitten. It's very cute.
Was that the end of it?
That's the opening scroll, yeah. It's just one long sentence. It's just...
I was sitting here waiting for you to continue.
Oh, no.
Okay.
That was it. So just this little quick scroll.
And then we see our hero, Tony Danger Tony, dressed in a super rad red windbreaker.
And baggy khakis.
No, pure white pants. Okay. They are.
But they were like, well, they were probably pure white. But they were like, they were very white.
They started as pure white, and they actually lasted for a long time until the end scene. Well, after this opening sequence, we find out his pants did in fact get dirty, but he's going into a castle. He is apparently mid-treasure hunt. So he goes into this castle.
The opening scene. I gotta say, this is where you get your first clue that this is possibly a 3D movie because he's smoking a cigarette because everybody in the 80s smoked a cigarette.
Uh-huh.
And he throws it. He starts walking and like if you've been around people who smoke, they throw their cigarette to the side.
Yeah.
He throws it directly at the camera. Which he then walks directly into the cigarette that he just threw. So I don't know. It was like my first clue that this was going to be an amazing movie.
Yeah. So he goes in the castle, but the next few shots are of him still outside the castle, or maybe there was a courtyard or something.
In the castle?
And then
I don't know.
back
Very
in the
confusing.
castle, but then suddenly he is in the castle, but also it's a jungle.
Yeah, there's like all this growth that you did not see outside because this castle is set like in a barren, empty grass field.
Yeah.
Like it's well trimmed grass too. It's like there's not like rocks and bushes and trees.
Vegetation around at all until he gets inside the castle and then he's in a jungle.
He's in a jungle. And there's a random owl staring at him.
There's owls and there's also, he gets attacked by a little pterodactyl.
That's hanging out with some vultures.
Which is
kind of cool. They don't actually attack him. they just fly around.
Yeah, they just fly around, but he flinches.
He does flinch. Because that's all Tony does is
Yeah.
flinch. And then
I have in my notes here. Quick, dive through the rusty iron portcullis that's been open for presumably thousands of years before it inexplicably slams shut behind you.
I have very similar notes. Crawl through a small tunnel with a spiked grate that drops behind you, despite being covered in cobwebs. Like it's just like obviously not moved in ages, and the vultures just walked through there.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
But
just dive
yeah,
in.
he has to dive through it before it closes, which it does. Barely missing his feet.
Barely missing his feet. Yeah. Cool. And then he walks. There's a grate with the rope that's dangling down through the grate, and he like walks to the edge, and he's like, "Well, this is obviously a trap." But then he does stand on it,
and then stands on it,
and then falls through it.
Yeah, the grate falls,
but
he's hanging onto the rope.
He's hanging onto the rope, so he kind of only half falls to the bottom of the new room, which is...
Oh, no, he climbs out of that.
Oh, did he climb out of that?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
so
I have it in my, like...
He sort of drops a little bit, but he's holding onto the rope, so he starts climbing up, and then a snake is there. And he's really freaking out about this snake because, of course, he's afraid of snakes.
Well, of course. Also, the snake is making slurping sounds.
Snake is making crazy slurping noises. Every time it shows the little tongue flick, it goes...
Oh, God. But there are also like your typical hissing, slithering sounds in there, and then these random slurping. Oh, gosh, stop doing that. And this is where he does make his first sound of the movie. He falls away and he goes, "Oh!" And he's laying there like with panic on his face as the snake slides over his shoulder and
it does nothing.
Disappears because we never see the snake again.
Yep.
Just like scene changes.
He just climbs out of this little pit hole.
It's amazing.
Great thing that he fell in, and then dogs.
And then the goodest boys come.
The goodest
little sweet puppers.
Yeah, they're so cute, but they're barking very angrily.
Yeah, they're barking and growling teeth.
And they do their good boy jobs because I guess they're guard dogs of some kind. Maybe they're supposed to be wild dogs, but they're definitely...
There's something.
They didn't have the budget for that.
Yeah. They're really pretty, I think, kind of like an Alsatian type. But they are very pretty, and they're very like, rah, 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 I'm going to eat your face off. And they chase him into another room.
They chase him around the same room, and then he goes like up this scaffolding kind of thing where the rope was dangling from.
Oh, yeah.
And hangs onto the rope. And then falls down into the grate that he fell down earlier, but it becomes this weird sci-fi tunnel thing.
It's not a grate. Yeah, it's so weird. Because it's like, you see him like kind of stuck in the tunnel for a minute.
There's like the sound of shattering glass as he falls down into it.
And then like,
and it's
radio waves.
Yeah.
Or the typical sci-fi, wow, 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 wow. Like this weird.
And like there's weird flashing lights. Was it supposed to be a portal of some kind? I don't know.
That's the only thing I think of. It's like it's supposed to be some sort of portal that takes him to the burial chamber.
Well, before you can figure out what is going on with this portal thingy, there's an explosion, and then it's almost like a cutscene where he's in a different room and he jumps. And then the explosion happens behind him. And then he does a flip.
It's amazing.
And then a backflip. And then now he's in the treasure room.
I forgot about the backflip. How could I have a note? Awesome backflip.
Also, this treasure room, even though he was down in a jungle room and then fell into a weird tunnel, there's a window in the treasure room.
To the outside.
But
we can't see through it, so it might not actually be our outside.
Yeah, maybe not.
Except later he does
kind
go
of get
through
the
the
feeling
window.
that it's like a tower of some kind. That's the vibe I got. But there really is only the one window. But there is light shining through it.
Maybe they were pulling into the video game vibe of go through the portal to get to the upper.
Yeah. Maybe.
It was weird. It was really
so
weird. So there's like this massive treasure room with skeletons and suits of armor
and
cobwebs and cobwebs, so many cobwebs.
Yeah.
And a big glowing sarcophagus.
And then he needs to get in, he zeroes in on the sarcophagus and we know that's his target. And then you hear this ripping sound. And there's a shot from the camera from the ground up looking at Tony Danger Tony as he rips off the, like, whatever
The
deck
outer
cord
seams of
was
his
sewn into his pants. He rips them off.
And it's explosive tape.
And it's deck cord. And
That's what it's called, deck cord. I couldn't remember.
So he attaches his pants deck cord to the sarcophagus, to the outside of the sarcophagus.
Just the top of it.
Just the top of it. And he takes cover and has a little remote in his jacket that he pulls out and blows the the deck cord with. And it blows a tiny little hole in the sarcophagus, which he then has to pry open with an axe that he finds in the room.
We'll pry it open with a giant battle axe in the most awkward use of an axe since Headless. But then I remembered it wasn't Headless, it was Poe Party.
Oh,
in the fight scene at the end with the axe, where we're going to lunge with an axe instead of swinging it. I don't know. Yeah, it was very awkward.
Oh, man.
As Tony Danger Tony manages or attempts to show us how heavy both the axe and the lid of the sarcophagus is.
Yeah. So a eerie green glow emits from inside this sarcophagus. And the heroic music starts swelling as he looks inside.
And then there's all these creepy sounds.
And first he gets the key.
Oh, yeah.
So he
Man, I have my notes are right in front of me and I still messed up.
He very reverently takes a scepter from this skeleton that's inside this sarcophagus and does a weird little squeeze.
Several times. Oh, did we mention
squeezing the sarcophagus or the scepter several times until a little key falls out?
Did we mention that Tony Danger Tony is a history professor?
Oh, it never says that in the movie, but it says
I forgot to mention that in the tagline. He's a history professor. So,
No.
all due reverence to the tomb that he's just desecrated by blowing the top off.
That he just used explosives on, yeah.
Come here, little kitty.
But the key is apparently what he was after, because the weird noises start when he picks it up. Weird squeaks and groans and laughter from the skeletons.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And then things start floating around the room.
Two crossbows are floating on obvious wires. But, lose yourself in the moment. There's no wires.
And then I have quick, slow-mo dodge that arrow, dude. This place is trying to kill me. Guess I'll casually walk out. But then he doesn't actually leave the room. He turns around to see a gun floating there. And instead of continuing to leave the room, because he's just been shot at with crossbow bolts and random things are flying at him from all over the place, he yells and runs toward the gun and it shoots him. Maybe, but he's okay. And nothing else is later. It shows his jacket kind of ripped up a little bit. Could have been bulletproof windbreaker.
Maybe. If it is, I want one.
Yeah.
Also, he had those isotoner gloves that have the leather on the back that are I don't know if you remember those, but yeah, those were great.
Yeah. Yep. He gets shot, but everything's okay. But instead of leaving, he decides to chill in the death room for a little bit longer. And so he's
I'm not exactly sure what's going on.
He's just kind of casually walking around as things are flying at him.
Flying
from
directly
the room,
into the camera.
because he has disturbed this key from its resting place.
Yeah. It's great.
And then suddenly the room is on fire because fireballs are flying at him.
The kitten is right here by the microphone.
He's not purring though.
He is purring. He's just not purring very loud.
No.
Probably because I'm holding him this way.
Very
Little
awkwardly.
sweet baby kitten. You're so sweet baby.
Uh-oh, the death room is on fire.
Oh, the death room. Wait, where did the big spiky rolly thing come from? Because it just appears.
Yeah, it just there's a big
like a pendulum. It's like a spiky. It's like a spiked metal tube, but it's on a pendulum that's swinging back and forth.
Oh,
he has to fall into the sarcophagus to not
to
get
avoid
hit by
that.
this thing.
Yeah,
somehow.
And
he couldn't move
there's
anywhere
a solid
else in the room.
30 seconds of us watching this spike thingy swing and occasional shots of him looking up at it. Just no
Casual,
expression on his
like,
face.
yeah, like,
Like
I
just
think
like
it's supposed to
guess
be.
I just have to wait for this
I'll
thing to
just
stop
wait.
swinging now.
I hope it doesn't get any lower than the stone walls of this sarcophagus
Yeah.
that I'm now protected in. I'm about 18 inches below. I should be good.
Yeah. So the thing stops swinging and he gets out.
Yeah, very.
And things are still flying around the room. And then there's a big, not really a boulder because it's made of paper, but I don't know if we were supposed to tell that
There
it was
was more
made of
than
paper.
one.
But it was also on fire.
So we have to run away from the boulder.
Indiana Jones style.
Shh, don't mention the movie we're trying to copy that came out last year.
I wrote down, like Indiana Jones, but make it lit.
Oh, man.
And then the skeletons start groaning again. And again, but instead of like leaving the room, Danger dives out the window.
Well, but first he dives behind a table, and then there's a suspiciously new-looking banner that wasn't there before. Bright yellow and black banner that definitely was not there.
Oh, I didn't even write that down.
He grabs that and swings through the window.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like dramatic.
Yeah, he doesn't dive through the window.
I
He
must do it in
swings
my
through
own
it.
particular idiom.
Idioms?
Idioms. So then he rolls outside. But also I have to note that where he lands outside is just a random place right in front of the castle doors.
Yeah.
And he starts running slow-mo.
Since the room was on fire of the treasure room, it is now spreading throughout the stone castle.
And the yard in front of the castle?
And the
'Cause
yard
all the
in front of the
explosions
castle.
were in front of the castle.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, you can blow things up, but not the actual castle for
Yeah.
this film.
But like there are explosions happening all behind him as he's running.
Very slowly.
And then he slow-mo dives. Once he's a safe distance away from the
I mean,
castle.
seriously, like a quarter mile away. I don't know.
Yeah, like it showed him running
several
for
hundred yards away.
such a long time. And then he dives dramatically as more things just casually burn behind him. There's not even a big explosion that he's diving from. He just like dives and lands and then
Turns around and looks back.
looks back at the burning castle.
Tony, first rule of hero, you never look back at the explosion.
I know.
Oh, jeez.
You don't even run from the explosion. You
No, you
walk
walk.
away.
Anyway,
Just walk away like you're not even bothered.
cut to airplane scene to let us know that Tony's home. Or at least delivering something to where he's supposed to be. I don't know. A museum, apparently. It belongs in a museum.
Wait,
Except
no,
it
we can't
doesn't.
say that. Wrong franchise.
Oh, yeah. Except it doesn't, actually, apparently.
So in this scene, we learn that Tony Danger Tony, or Stryker, I guess is what we should call him.
No, I like Tony Danger Tony.
Yeah, me too. But he's only in this for the money. He's only in the treasure game for the money.
Yeah, he just wants the money.
He's
Give me my money. I believe I typed, give me my money, and I'm going to say goodbye. Which is the first words that I think Tony actually says.
except for a snake.
Wait. He gets in the car, and he seems surprised that someone else is in the car that he obviously
Oh yeah, this is where
had
his friend
arranged for
comes in.
picked up.
Yeah.
Give me my money, and I'm going to say goodbye. And his friend, IRS guy, I know, to quote, you don't believe in ghosts and legends are cow excrement.
Cow excrement.
Because this movie was trying to get in as a family movie at the PG level.
Yep.
So you can only say so many swears in the 80s at PG level.
Yep.
And they have a few later on, so they didn't want to use this one up
Yeah.
now.
So cow excrement it is. And then I have exposition time.
I do history exposition time.
Because they go and talk to this professor dude. I still didn't catch his name. Second time watching the movie,
Yeah, I
I have
didn't
no
catch his
idea
name.
who this guy is.
They just call him the professor.
Yeah. Okay. So he gives the history. He takes the key and gives the history of these 4 crowns.
4 being the key number here.
4 crowns. And turns out where they are, they're in like a castle or museum or something.
I think it's a museum.
Probably supposed to be a museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. It never says. There's a lot left unexplained.
There's a lot left unexplained. So much unexplained. Everything.
But they already have one of these crowns. in this museum. And the whole time this dude's talking about the history of these crowns, which, again, second time watching it, I don't know. I
have I have the Visigoths in the 6th century. I don't. I think they actually made it.
They made the crowns.
Made the crowns,
and then someone else tried to open one of them, and that was the 4th crown. But the crown got destroyed because they tried to open it without the key.
Yeah.
So the crown got destroyed, as well as the people that tried to open it. So that's why.
But not even the important thing. The crowns aren't important. There's these gold balls on the top.
Right. And that's why you need the key to open them.
That hold the power.
Yeah.
I don't know. So obviously, one of the crowns was the crown that this professor has. He got it from a Sherpa mountain climber in Nepal. Because obviously, where else would it be?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I just have obviously.
Obviously.
And I think Tony then says, "Where are the other crowns?" And IRS, "We know where they are." Attitude. The other 2 crowns currently happen to be in the possession of a crazy cult leader.
Oh, no.
I do feel like we are going to have to be like, okay, there's some like triggering stuff for people in this movie. There are a lot of raging fire scenes and cults. And
yeah.
I had something else,
some
a
skeletons.
note other made about that. Anyway, I'll mention it when I get to it. So,
yeah.
Clowns. There's a clown later on.
Oh.
Which I tried not to look at the screen very
Yeah.
much when he was on screen, because not just it was an older gentleman playing a clown, so it was like all of my triggers.
Oh,
like
man.
creepy, scary clown looking guy, old guys. But
so anyway, we find out that the final 2 existing crowns. So one's at the museum. One of them got destroyed a long time ago. The other 2 crowns are currently being held by a cult leader who was from New York City.
He did 7 years in Sing Sing.
7 years in Sing Sing. And now he's somewhere in the mountains.
The Pyrenees.
The Pyrenees. And has a compound and just keeps luring people in and telling
by the thousands. I wrote down, this guy is an animal. The sick, the desperate, the lonely. His apostles round him up and ship him off to his private castle. Which happens to look exactly like the castle that Tony just exploded. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Just from a different angle.
Just like a different section of the castle.
They got permission to film at one castle.
So the professor and the tax guy, the friend, I guess.
Yeah. You get the vibe that Tony and the tax guy have worked together in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe?
And like I think they're supposed to be friends, but also the tax guy's like, do the job. And Tony's like, no. And the tax guy's like, come on, man, do the job.
This
and
guy's
Tony's
bringing
like,
in $900 million a year, tax free. He hasn't paid taxes in years. Like the number of times taxes are mentioned.
Yeah.
Like,
they want Tony to get the crowns. Tony doesn't want to get the crowns.
Tony watches this whole film, by the way, which this professor is showing of. They have all like this insider information, which they tell us about, like where they got it, like 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
But Tony's watching this with a very bored expression on his face, and his big takeaway when they end: why is everyone wearing masks? That's the only question he asks. And then he's like, "Give me my money. I'm not interested." And his friend's like, "Here's your dang money." That's one of the swears they throw in there because that's an important time. And then he like slams his fist on the table. For once in your life, you got a chance to do good for somebody. Help us get the crowns with a slam on the table between each. And Tony's like, I'm out. Peace out.
He's like,
and he
no.
leaves. He takes his money and leaves.
But then the next scene.
It's the end of the movie because Tony is not interested.
Yeah.
But wait.
There's more. The next scene, Tony and tax guy are driving through the snow somewhere.
I want to say maybe the Alps.
Maybe the Alps.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
And it doesn't really say this, but we eventually learn that they're assembling a team because apparently Tony changed his mind, but we didn't. They cut out that scene. So now they got to get the team back together.
We got to get the team back together.
Well, one final gig.
Yeah. I love this scene because it's snowing, blowing snow. It's gray skies. Everybody that you see is like bundled head to toe, except for Tony.
He's got a windbreaker on.
In his magic red windbreaker and no hood. despite the freezing blowing conditions. Like, he's too cool. Also, the kitten just walked across my keyboard, and right after my notes of slamming on the table, he typed, which I think was like, yeah, Aww, perfect. Yeah. Good job.
Good job, buddy.
So we're in the snowy, maybe Alps.
Looking for the next crew member, which is a climbing expert, also a drunk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They go and they find him. They go in his little cabin, and he's passed out. So the tax guy, who is also the comic relief, starts cracking some jokes while Danger is trying to
all the
wake
jokes
up.
about drinking.
Yeah.
Is kind of.
Yeah.
And then the drunk guy actually cracks a few jokes too when he wakes up. Bleary, slurred jokes. And I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm. And then to convince the climber to join their team, right. Tony Danger Tony takes the key out of his pocket. And that's when things get weird again.
Yeah. Well, he lays it on the table. And then he and IRS guy are kind of a few feet away, talking back and forth, making their, IRS guy's making his jokes. And you're the best, Rick. And you can stay sober for 3 weeks. You can climb anything. All we need is 3 weeks. And Rick glances at the key, which has started to glow.
Uh-oh. And whistle?
And whistle, apparently.
Yeah. And then...
wait, I have to rewind just for a second for this exchange when Rick brings the key out. He pulls the key out and he goes, look at this key. It's magic. It's going to keep you sober. Rick can't even hardly see the key. He's like
trying to focus on it.
Do you know what this is? Tony says. And Rick goes, a platypus?
Oh my gosh.
If it doesn't come in a bottle, I'm not interested. And that's when Tony sets the key down and goes to talk to IRS guy about all their little drunk jokes.
Yeah.
And then
the key starts floating and whistling. The
key begins to whistle and glow and float. And then apparently Rick, in this one room tiny cabin in the Alps or wherever we are, is a tea kettle collector.
He has like 1 million tea kettles because they all start exploding.
And there's all these jars of dry canned goods on the ceiling that explode. It's amazing.
When this scene began of things starting to fly around the room, I hit the timer on my phone. I hit a stopwatch. And 3 solid minutes
my gosh,
of film time, which a lot can happen in 3 minutes in a movie.
Yeah.
It was all just things flying around the room.
And Tony Danger Tony is slowly trying to chase the key around the room and catch it.
Yeah, every once in a while he makes like a jab,
half-hearted dive for it.
But the key escapes and it flies into the stove and gets all hot. And then once it gets all hot, it goes and runs into the wooden door and lights that on fire. And
it tries to go out the chimney of the stove.
Yeah.
And Tony Danger Tony runs over and closes the flue. And then he takes the pipe out and shakes the key. But before he can grab it, that's when it runs and slams into the door and sets the door not really on fire, but like sparkling, like a sparkler, 4th of July sparkler.
Yeah, but there was an explosion sound.
Yeah, but it doesn't it's just like.
Yeah, it's just like the flashbang.
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
And then I says, drunk guy takes a swig and watches his cabin get wrecked.
Oh.
The key's still flying around the room. And then when Danger finally manages to catch it, like...
right before it runs out the window.
Right before it runs out the window.
Finally gets blown open, I think. There was like a explosion at the window.
Force or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot happening.
There's a lot happening in this 3 minutes.
The room was just head to toe special effects. Explosions. It must have been a good time to film.
Yeah, I'm sure they had a blast with it.
Cue the tea kettle. Which one?
Those
number
6
20
over there that are stacked on the shelf. No, do those 8 over there. Wait, we still have 4 over here that haven't gone off yet.
We got some glass jars, right? Throw them in there. Let's explode them.
I actually would have loved to have been a part of that set. It looked really fun.
Yeah, it would have been great. So Danger catches the key, and I guess it was hard because his hands start shaking. He's got it clasped between in both hands in front of his face, And like he starts shaking very, very dramatically.
And
like the key is trying to escape. But then eventually like the whistling stops and everything stops and he's like, cool. And he just puts the key back in his pocket.
back in his pocket. I guess he like subdues the key.
I don't like, yeah, maybe we're supposed to intuit that.
Tony's so good.
Yeah. Danger.
He's just a good guy at heart, even though he's tough on the outside.
If he just holds the key for just a little bit, he is the only one that can calm it down.
Yeah.
To calm the magic.
And then cutscene.
Cutscene. Next
Now
time.
we're at a circus in Spain.
Yep. Los Muchachos Circus.
Because of course it is.
And then we see the strongman act. He's wearing a green sort of luchador outfit, but he doesn't have a luchador mask. Instead, he's painted blue. He's got a blue face on.
And he's growling.
And he's growling and yelling and trying to move a car or something.
Yeah, there's like a little policia car and like 6 little scrawny guys dressed as police, and he's chasing them around. It's really kind of weird.
Yep.
But then that ends and he has to walk across the ring, pick up a girl,
then spin her around
a couple times and put her down.
Yep.
And this is where the ringmaster's like, it's terrible.
But it'll do.
But it'll be fine. Okay.
So the strong man's basically like, oh, I'm too old for this. But
Yeah.
Danger's like, want some money? And then strong man's like, okay.
He's like, I don't want money from me. I want money for Liz, my daughter. I don't know why I'm giving all these guys with this accent.
Tax guy's
It's
the
really
only one
bad
with
New
the
York
accent.
I know, and it's just tax guy.
Yeah.
The American of the party.
I mean, they're all...
Of course he's worried about taxes. Aren't we all?
That's an American thing, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So they go into this guy, the strongman's room, where he starts wiping off his blue makeup. Before you start, the answer is no. I'm too old and too smart.
Want some money?
Oh, how much money?
I'll tell you. I didn't actually write that
100,000 for you and 100,000 for Liz. Oh, now we hit the soft spot.
Oh,
soft,
Liz,
sad
his daughter.
music because Liz
She
is
needs
his
the
daughter.
money.
She can get out of this circus because she's the cute hot daughter who is the trapeze artist.
Yeah.
And then we watch a really dramatic slow motion trapeze scene for a few minutes.
With, heavy string music playing and it's great.
Tony does not fall in love in this moment.
No.
Because Tony has no emotions.
Tony has no emotions. I originally thought, introduction of love interest, but no.
No.
I'm just going to give you that spoiler right now.
Yeah, just give you. Also, Tony's like 60 and she's like 20.
Yeah. It would be
Tony's
weird.
pretending. Tony's 60, but he's pretending to be like 35.
Yeah.
Maybe 40. I mean, he is a history professor.
A
So
retired history professor.
retired history professor.
So Strongman agrees to do it. And then we see this acrobat scene, but then we cut back to the strongman who's talking to his clown buddy
named Popo.
This
is the and Popo's like 90 and wearing this really bad clown makeup, and I had to look away.
So during this conversation, we find out that the strongman actually has a weak heart.
And he's only maybe got 6 months to live.
But he's been keeping it a secret from his daughter.
Which is kind of crappy.
Kind of messed up.
But
yeah. And
the 80s.
The clown buddy is like the voice of reason saying, she's going to find out eventually. You're going to have to tell her eventually, man. And he's just like, I will.
I'll
and
tell
then he
her
never does.
Eventually. It's the 80s. We don't talk to our children.
No.
We just turn them loose. Here's your house key. Be home before dark.
Yeah, she'll know when I'm dead. She'll figure it out.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
So then those two, the strongman and the acrobat, were the last of the team members they needed to gather. So then cut scene again to the planning session. And they have this scale model of the compound that suddenly they know the exact layout of the whole place. They know the exact security system that it has. They know all of the best entry points, even though they were only able to get pictures of the outside of the compound.
Right.
Originally.
Wait, because this is where we find out that they had 2 guys inside who were 2 of Jonas's top right-hand guys. And we got to them before his assassins did.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, okay, they gave you all this information and then the assassins got them, so you didn't protect them. So well done, you, not protecting these guys.
Yeah.
But maybe it wasn't that. Maybe they did get them before the assassins did. And full stop. They got them and befuddled the assassins by, I don't know. Not sure what happened there. It's never explained.
The whole time, the comic relief tech guy is pointing out all the dangers in the compound. Danger is sitting in the corner playing with a toy. Like a little kid's toy.
Yeah.
Of course. Because he can't be bothered to pay attention.
He already has the plan laid out, Jess.
I know. It's all in his head.
He already got it. He's
all these simpletons need to be pointed
figure it all out.
Jeez.
They'll get there. They'll get there eventually. He took one look at that layout and he knew exactly what had to be done.
Yep. And we find this out because the heroic music starts playing as Danger stands up from his chair and starts laying out the plan.
JT, how are we going to pull this off?
We fly. So we do actually find out. I do need to... We should probably tell them a little bit of the dangers. But we find out that the crowns are being held in sort of there's a...
Like a shrine room?
Like a shrine room / cathedral room, maybe former cathedral, I don't know. Yeah. But they're on a statue.
A two-headed goat statue because 80s.
Uh-huh.
Because it is the 80s, so...
Yeah. And the floor and the walls are pressure sensitive and cannot be touched. Halfway through the room is a floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall iron gate.
Not quite to the ceiling, because the ceiling is vaulted and the iron gate is square.
That's
because
true.
They apparently can't make curved iron to reach all the way.
Because they had to go through the gate.
Oh, that's right.
They couldn't go over the thing. But yeah, no, the gate was fitted to
the room. That's right. Edit that out because I feel like an idiot.
So, iron gate in the middle of the room that they're going to have to get through. There's also electronic locks everywhere and
musical electronic locks, I think. Like it was keyed to a specific sound.
Oh.
It wasn't like just like you had to hit a rhythm. It was, and it's not like play a violin. It was like boop, 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 boop. Like it had a certain intonation or something.
No idea.
Also, the huge metal grate that's dividing the room is electrified.
Oh yeah.
Jurassic Park.
You can't touch it.
Dinosaur electrified, apparently.
Yeah. So, again, like an idiot, Danger takes the key out of his pocket.
With this, those crowns are ours.
But because it's the key and it does weird things start flying around the room. And like they had a little mini version of the statue that the crowns are on in this little
diorama,
not a diorama. It's a
model. It's
model.
It's just
scale
like a
model.
Scale model, yeah.
Of the compound. And things start shooting out of it. Maybe,
or
maybe
I
people
think
are
it's kind of a vision thing. Like the key starts shaking, and Tony's like, "Oh no!" And he cups it in his hands again because that's the key to controlling it. I guess his hands around it,
but it doesn't work because things start flying around.
Things are flying around the room, and then there's like, it's kind of a vision / foreshadowing.
Maybe I don't know. The acrobat starts screaming though. Yeah,
she starts screaming, and. The strong man, whose name is Socrates, and I will always say Socrates. Socrates falls over. IRS guy falls over. Rick the drunk falls over. The professor is like nowhere to be seen in any of this at this point, I think.
I say Danger gets super sweaty while he wrestles with the key, and the team start to see visions? Or is this really happening? Acrobat starts to scream. People are falling down. Things are being shot out of the mini model of the compound. I'm not sure what's happening, but Danger has to stop taking the key out of his pocket. Really, he should know better by now.
When he finally gets the key subdued and he rises from behind the table and wipes the sweat from his brow and looks around somewhat nervously because Danger Tony doesn't have emotions.
Right.
All his friends all stand up and they're like, "What was that?" And he says,
"I don't know, but it wasn't magic," because he doesn't believe in magic.
"Nothing unless you believe in ghosts." And I wrote, Tony, you crazy skeptic.
I know. I say the team is shaken, but Danger assures them it was nothing. Okay, man.
Okay, man. Absolutely nothing. It's all in your head.
Yep.
It's in your head, guys. Get in the game. Let's go. Let's
Yep.
go do this. Oh, look, we're at the castle again.
Yep. We fast forward. They are raiding the compound.
Yeah, but this
Or
is where
sneaking
we
up on
get
it.
a good look at Brother Jonas, the kookaburra who wears a lot of bells on his
Yep.
robes.
My name is Jonas. Not that one. Not
My
that
name's
Jonas.
Jeff.
I was singing a Weezer song. My name's Jeff.
Sorry. I had to.
So yeah, Brother Jonas is up to some weird stuff.
Yeah, so apparently the reason this heist took 3 weeks is because they've been doing this whole gathering of all the cult members, and there's this big festival, and they have
With
to
new recruits.
Yeah, with the new recruits, where they go through this big festival, and then they're recruited in, and they become his apostles or whatever. So that's when the heist has to take place, at the height of the end of this festival.
Right.
Which
'Cause
it was
that
like
makes
such
sense.
a chill festival. Like, I'm like, no one's like really super distracted here.
Yeah.
The guards are all still doing their jobs. We'll get to that later. Quote, doing their jobs. Yeah, Brother Jonas comes in, and he's like, all these people dressed in their beautiful 80s garb are sitting on the floor in this room. And he walks through, and he's like kind of looking at everybody with this beatific smile. And
Yeah.
it's like, yes, my children, my children. He pats people on the head, but only the really pretty girls. He like pats their little heads. And
Oh,
they're
and
all
that
like,
was another 3D opportunity.
Yeah, because the hand comes right towards the camera, kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And then we bounce out to the outer walls. There's a lot of like back and forth between we're in the
what's
temple,
going on inside.
we're outside, we're inside, we're outside. So I have like cue outer walls, and we're back inside.
Back inside. I have Danger's back in his white pants.
But he's wearing a dark coat this time.
Yeah,
I
at
think
least
the red windbreaker got a little too damaged.
Yeah, I think so.
For his
it got
fashion.
shot,
Well, yeah.
I think.
Point blank, apparently.
I don't know.
But everybody's like really wearing, like, in most like infiltration scenes, you've got kind of combat gear.
Uh-huh.
These guys look like they just walked off the street.
Yeah, they're just in their casual browns.
Brown pants. I think IRS guy has got
He's got loafers.
cons on.
Yeah.
He's wearing cons. I'm like, good
Oh.
choice, you know.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
And yep, so they're all rolling up with bags of gear and regular
Clothes. And they run up to a wall and like flatten against it as a guard walks to the top of the wall, just maybe 8 inches above their heads. Does not look down at all. Smokes a cigarette and looks off into the horizon, because that's where the bad guys will be coming from, by airplane probably.
Yeah.
And then
I
walks away.
I wrote in my notes that he rolled really low on his perception check. Like
I would say he rolled a
that
1. Yeah, definitely failed that check.
I also made a note about the music that's playing all throughout the scene, and there's like these weird like screechy sounds and like and like I couldn't tell if it was actually part of the soundtrack or the noises are actually happening, because they were similar to the noises that would happen when the key was out.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't know. I couldn't tell. Later, I determined that it was part of the soundtrack because there was a later scene where they were supposed to be all super quiet, but these noises were still happening.
Oh. You okay
I
over
just
there?
gave myself brain freeze.
Oh, no. Tony Danger, Tony.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Where did we leave off?
The failed perception check of the guard.
Oh,
These
yeah.
guards all have terrible perception, by the way. I don't know how they got hired.
Oh, no.
Oh,
don't
BB.
step on that. My dude.
I don't know how these guards got hired, because
Yeah.
they really...
They're real bad.
Ow!
So, meanwhile, Jonas is just like
Oh, yeah, he's
preaching or
doing this whole
whatever,
little walking through the crowd thing, and then he walks up to the front of the room where there's like, I don't know, it's not really an altar, but there's kind of a bed
I
or
would
something
call it
there.
an altar area.
And there's a girl laying on it, and she's got very pale skin and lesions, and she seems to be having possibly muscle spasms or a seizure.
Yeah.
And then we see that for a second, And then we cut back to the outside where Tony is like, hurry up, Ed, IRS guy. Ed's having trouble with the elevation. He goes, oh, my lungs, I can't breathe.
Oh, yeah.
My lungs won't work. Are we having a good time? But then we're suddenly back at the door of the secure room, right?
Yeah, this is the comic relief tech guy's time to shine because it's an electronic lock.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got to pick it.
With his little wires that he just clips to the outside somehow.
Yeah.
Or he plugs in a chip.
I say loud beeps, but still hella stealthy.
Yeah. And then he like breathes a sigh of relief and Tony's like, hurry up, man, we're running out of time. And Ed just reaches over his shoulder and pushes the door open with one finger like a smart aleck.
Yeah.
And Tony's like, good job. And they remember when we go in here, we only have 18 inches of floor to work with.
4 minutes until the next guard patrol passes by.
Oh, yeah, 4 minutes till the next guard patrol. Also, 18 inches of floor, but Tony definitely takes up a good solid 4 feet of floor.
Yeah.
Multiple times in these next scenes.
Yeah. They had to make room for the cameras.
Well, yeah. So then they gear up with climbing harnesses, which is what's been in these giant equipment bags they're carrying around with them. Which I argue that they could have already had the climbing harnesses put on.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't until they start clicking on all the little carabiners. I couldn't think of the word for it's like click, click, click. And then they're like, we have to like watch everybody click, 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 all the dramatic.
Make sure everybody's nice and secure in their climbing harnesses.
Because what we're going to do to get across this, we're going to set up a trapeze.
And now it's the acrobat's turn to shine.
All right, Liz, you're up.
So the plan is everybody's going to go up to the rafters of this huge cathedral type room. And the trapeze artist, and I actually wrote down that this is like the smartest thing they did in the movie.
It is the smartest thing.
Because it's cool how they get across this beam. She's got like this clamp thingy that she holds, and she like, they reach out. So they're all standing on a beam, and they need to go across the one main beam that goes lengthwise.
Center of the room,
all the way down to the statue. So they're all standing on this other beam, and she reaches out as far as she can and clamps this bar onto the main beam, and
which I'm guessing it has like spikes that they kind of then ratchet.
Yeah,
into
and
the wood.
they ratchet into the wood, and so it can hold their weight. So she clamps a carabiner on there and swings out to there, and then she has a little trapeze bar that she clamps onto that other bar. And so she like gets down and is hanging by her knees and starts swinging so she can get to the next spot. Little Zirin purrs. And so they just do that, inching across this main support beam.
But like what kills me is she gets the first one up and she's moving on to set the second one. And this time now they're all starting to already start climbing. Like they get the second one in and they're already like putting everybody's weight on these things.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get everybody up here at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'd think they would let her get across, or at least to the middle gate.
Yeah, where the gate is
first. But no, everybody up there all at once.
And then right when they get to this metal gate that's electrified, the door opens. And they have to be very, very quiet.
Oh, yeah. Good thing they were up there, though.
Yeah, good thing.
Because the guard comes in.
The guard comes in
Spot
and
check.
looks around. And then just as he's about to walk out the door, something on Ed's outfit clicks. And he has to like put his hand over the carabiner really quietly.
Oh.
Because it might keep clicking. I don't know.
I don't know.
The guard turns around, doesn't see anything, and walks out.
And leaves.
Again.
Yep.
Nat 1 on the perception roll there. Yeah. And then we're back in the temple with Brother Jonas, and he's going to heal this girl who left the flock, and now she wants to come back in. But he needs everybody's help. So he's like, you all have to help me, my children. And then we're back in the shrine room with our intrepid heroes.
And they're still crossing the beam. They get to the center gate, and now it's Tony's turn, because the next thing they have to do, they can't touch this iron gate because it's electrified, so they have to lower down from where they are at the ceiling to where the actual doorway in the gate is, so he can pick that lock and open the door.
And this is where Socrates comes in.
That's where Socrates comes in.
He's on belay.
Yeah.
And that's the extent of my mountain climbing terminology.
So he's got the support rope. He's the anchor, I guess.
Yeah, he's the anchor for Tony.
Tony gets lowered down, picks the lock, opens the door somehow.
He pushes the door open and then kind of like...
Do they de-electrify it?
No, they don't. They never de-electrify it.
Yeah.
He kind of like somehow reaches through and shoots a dart up into the ceiling to put a new rope in.
Yeah. And then the acrobat chick also gets lowered down and kind of climbs over Tony, and she's the first one to go up the rope on the other side of the bridge.
And
so
start
she can
the whole
keep
process
doing
of the clamps.
Yeah.
This is where Socrates is like really struggling with the weight and the balance of all of this.
Oh yeah,
and they show a close up of the rope is like almost touching the floor.
Oh
no, it almost touches the floor, but it doesn't.
Yeah, Socrates is having heart issues.
Yeah, he's struggling.
But he's keeping it quiet.
He doesn't. He's very sweaty at this point too.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say anything.
So Socrates, since he's the anchor, he is the last one, and he kind of sets up post at that center gate area while the rest of them go through.
Then they set up a zip line.
And then, yeah, because I think like the acrobat is just going on ahead with her thing, and everybody else is slowly trying to get through this electrified gate without touching it and without falling. And by the time they all get to the other side, she's already like above the statue. And so they just zip line to her.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why didn't they do that in the first place? They had this whole long crawl of going across this whole entire room when they could have just zip lined.
Yeah.
So
it's weird.
I don't know.
And then they have to go to the control panel for the floor, the pressurized floor, which is for some bizarre reason on the ceiling. Like how, I don't understand this part at all, but they're all up on these beams along the walls and ceiling here to one side of the statue that's in the center of the room. And IRS guy's like, puts his little clips on the box and he's got his little remote control to turn the floor off. And then he moves away from the box and Tony starts to rappel down the front of the statue. All the way to the base of the statue.
Yeah. But something...
there
is
falls.
a moment in there where Danger Tony slips, and there's like a Mission Impossible moment where like he almost touches the floor, and he has to like balance and hold really still, and then he climbs back up.
But then at some point he actually does stand on the base of the statue.
Yeah.
And he's like feeling the statue. Oh, yeah, the remote control that RS guy has to turn the floor off doesn't work.
It's faulty. Oh, no.
Oh, no, this remote doesn't work. So now, like, definitely can't touch the floor. So Tony starts to climb the statue, which I didn't understand this part because
he was on
a rope. He could have just reached over and got to the crowns.
He also, like, once he gets onto the base of the statue, he takes the rope off. So now he's just, like...
Yeah, I don't know what his plan was
like a
there.
Safety. Yeah.
Well, it was to not get in the way of the drama that happens later, apparently.
Yeah.
It won't work to have a rope on for all of this. And then...
But then things start going wrong real fast.
Really bad.
But I think we do a cut scene back to Brother Jonas first.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember.
Okay, yeah. And they get through. Tony falls, but Socrates catches him just before he hits the floor. The remote won't work. And then we cut back to the temple where they're going to heal this girl. So now Jonas is like getting the people all riled up. You have to help me, children. You have to help me. Heal her. Heal her. We need your energy. And then his followers are like walking through the crowd of people, just randomly cutting locks of hair off of some of the followers.
Yeah.
And they put them in this bowl. And Brother Jonas puts this long candle directly toward the camera. Lights the hair on fire, and then it explodes. Yeah. Like flashbang explodes in a big cloud of smoke.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy, what are you doing? Oh, there you go.
And he says, my divine strength will heal her, but you have to help my children. So they start, tambourines are going and drums and shaking noises. I don't know. And they start like chanting, heal, heal. And then we cut back. Iris is trying to get the remote control working. He can't. And then Tony starts climbing the statue. Okay.
And then, oh man.
Okay. Oh wait. We did kind of. Okay. So. Oh my gosh, kitten.
Yeah, he's messing things up down
He's
there.
really attacking everything over here. Okay. So yeah. So Tony falls. The control panel doesn't work. Iris is working, trying to fix this. Iris/Ed, the rogue. Then we go back to the temple, and Jonas has this knife that's like burning hot, and he puts it right on the girl's forehead. And then she just has a little X on her forehead, which is kind of weird. And she's begging for help. And the people are getting crazy. They're dancing. Well, his followers are dancing. Everybody else is just still sitting kind of casual
Everyone else is
on the
just
floor.
like chill and watching.
And then there's like this random cutaway to the outside of the castle, which is dead silent. This is so weird. And there's a few guards wandering around. I don't know. And then we're back in the room.
And then things start happening.
This is when stuff
Strong
gets
man's
real.
strong man's heart starts giving out when the...
Oh, wait. The most magical line of all. Okay. This is where Tony starts actually climbing the statue. And he's looking up at it. It's a two-headed goat statue that's wearing the crowns.
I wrote this
And
down.
he looks happy, but also kind of sad. And then everyone is just kind of staring pensively at the statue. There's some sad, dramatic music. And Tony says, "Here I come, you magical son of a bip," which is possibly the best line of the movie. And then we cut back to the temple where the girl has been healed. She stands up and wait, Jonas has to slap her and he screams heal at her. And then she stands up and she walks to Jonas and she kneels in front of him and takes his hand. "My pain is gone. You are the divine power, Jonas." And then everybody's chanting, "Jonas." And then she winks at him and he winks back like, "Hey, good job." What? Is this whole thing a scam? And now we're back in the room. Socrates is not looking good.
Yeah. Socrates goes down.
Socrates goes down. He just
He
legit
falls
has a
and
heart attack and
conveniently-
falls.
Yeah. So he falls from the rafter that he was on. Conveniently, the rope tightens just before he hits the ground, so
before
he
he hits the
doesn't
floor.
trigger the pressure sensors on the floor.
But his hat falls off.
But his hat falls off and nothing happens.
But nothing happens.
Yeah. I think that was a mistake. I
It was
don't know.
Yeah, filming mistake, I think.
The acrobat's really sad because
She
that's
screams,
her dad.
"Dad!"
But she sucks it up and carries on.
Yeah,
Because now we're going to show Tony Danger Tony at the statue.
And now they have to he's like, "Okay, Rick and Liz need to take out the window." Because
that's their escape
that's their
route.
escape route. So they have to blow toward.
They have to get to the window.
They have to get to the window, and they have to blow towards the metal that's holding the glass in place.
Right, because I think they're trying to do it sneakily
Yeah,
instead of just smashing out the glass. I don't know.
If
Even
you
though
heat
you now
metal
have a
that's
dead
holding-
body to clean up, what's your plan
I know.
there?
I don't understand. I don't understand this part. Okay, Liz is panicking, but now she's going to suck it up and just get them out of here.
I say danger is at the statue, so everyone else's problems don't matter. Heroic music plays.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah,
But then he does something to make darts shoot up out of the floor.
he takes out the key instead of just taking the statues off or taking the crowns off the statues
and just taking the crown.
and just taking the crowns and getting out. He's got to insert the key in and open the little golden ball in the middle of the statue because I guess they really
in the
just
middle
want
of the crown.
gemstones that we didn't know were in the statue because
Yeah.
the other crown just had a note. I don't know. So he puts it in there and then random lights start blinking around the room and then these spikes shoot up all around the room and Rick
Drunk climber guy dies.
Rick takes one in the back.
Yep.
It's pretty bad.
So now he's just hanging there.
Ed punches the wall in annoyance that Rick is dead
Yeah.
now because they've become besties.
Yeah.
Even though he was giving him a hard time in the beginning. So Liz is not, I wrote down, Rick is out. Liz is not happy. IRS punches the wall.
I wrote, Danger carries on, but he screws up again. The alarm is raised. Tech guy has to get the crowns for some reason because Danger is temporarily blinded.
He got steamed in the eyes or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. It was really weird. So IRS tech head swings down on a rope to help. And Rick's like, get the crowns.
I'm blind. My eyes. Get the crowns. Like, you should have gotten the crowns in the first place, my dude.
Dude, you should have never landed on the statue. You could have just swung down,
Picked up the crowns.
Them.
Yeah,
easy
they were
peasy.
right there.
Oh, little tech guy is on the statue reaching, and he's going to, once again, instead of taking the crown, just put the key in, which he somehow got from Rick. So he puts the key in, but before he can, there's like these weird metal snake things that wrap around.
Yeah,
Not only do they wrap around him, they like spin him around so his back is against the statue now and he's facing out and they're like squeezing him to death.
Yeah, but then, like, okay, so here's
a lot happens right now.
Here's what happens. Tech guy triggers the booby trap on the statue. And so, yes, his back is toward the statue now and the arms of the statue are like wrapping around him and squeeze him tightly. Really, really tightly. Then we hear him like scream or whatever.
Crack?
Yeah, like we hear something and he like reacts to it. We don't know what just happened. And then
a big snake shoots out.
Yeah, the statue snakes bite him in the face.
And then
the statue releases him and he falls forward to the ground.
Not on the floor, but just on the base of the statue.
Oh no, he's on the ground. They triggered the alarm at this point.
That's right. He does fall completely off. And he's got a stab wound in his back.
Yes, and then we look up at the statue and there's like a metal thing that's retreating back into the statue that's covered in blood. So he got stabbed too. So like he got his ribs crushed. He got bit by the statue snake.
Assumingly venomous snake.
And he got stabbed by the statue. So poor tech guy, IRS Ed, is out of the picture.
So now all we have left is now able to see Tony Danger Tony and Liz up on the ceiling.
Who is still coping with her dad's death. But she's still
like,
chilling up in the rafters.
She snuffles it up and keeps blowtorching the window.
Yeah. Yeah, she has made it to the window at this point.
Yeah. So JT Striker, Tony Danger Tony, he's like, oh, he starts to climb up again and another sword comes out and he just misses him.
Yeah.
Random.
Comes out of the statue.
And now the crowns are both open and there's a glowing gem in each one and he's got to really slowly and dramatically.
Just as Jonas and his cult followers come running into the room because the alarm has been sounded.
Yes.
And they all have guns. And so Tony reaches for these 2 gems.
Grabs them and starts screaming?
Yep.
Like
Tony starts to scream and apparently the magic is just too much because his head literally starts spinning on his body.
A la Exorcist.
A la
spinning rapidly 360 degrees over and over.
And
Liz goes, oh, and hides her head in the window.
His human body can't handle the magic of the crowns. He keeps it together long enough to turn the crazy powerful magic on the cultist. So he's got these 2 crystals in his hands and he turns around from the statue and they basically become flamethrowers.
But wait, half of his face is melty now.
Half of his face has melted off.
Symbolism, #symbolism, because it's good and evil.
Oh, right.
The battle of
Unleash
good and
the power of good and evil.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, he's got like melty face and the eye on the melty side of his face is like looking off to one, like off into the...
It's very bad makeup.
It's very bad. It's so bad makeup. And there's like one little single tear that runs down the melty face side. I don't know. It's weird.
So fireballs on strings start flying around the room.
and like he doesn't torch the bad guys yet. He's like spewing flames to either side of the room and like...
Well, and then he does the arms cross
He crosses his arms over his chest and he's like spewing off to either side. He almost hits Liz. What? But then he's like spewing down the sides of the followers and Jonas, who is just standing there doing nothing.
Jonas starts melting?
He just suddenly starts melting.
Yeah.
Like, it's really weird. And there's like streams of something spewing out
shooting out
random
of his face.
out of his face. I have in my notes because Jonas goes all melty and skeletal as cannonballs of flames are now shooting through the room on wires. I guess
Big dramatic fiery scene, all in caps.
Jonas is spewing streams of something out of his face, which then starts to break apart like porcelain. I guess they couldn't fully steal the Indiana Jones melty face.
Yeah.
They were getting pretty close to that scene. But.
Yeah. So now the cultists are dead. Jonas is melting / burning / chipping away. And the acrobat starts screaming because Tony Danger Tony is having trouble controlling the evil side of the magic.
Yeah.
And has turned the flames on her.
Oh.
But doesn't get her. She's just like, don't kill me. Please don't kill me. And so he stops and turns
snaps him out of it. He's like,
wait. Oh, okay. And then he turns back to the cultist who still apparently is not dead yet. Or the Jonas.
The rest of and torches. Some of the cultists like run out, which is a really cool, I think we have to, kudos to the fire stunt guys who are running out in their obvious fire suits on fire. But they did a good job.
So
and they
after
finally get out of the room and close the door. The last guy out closes the door.
We're just going to leave this here.
Nothing to see here. Just close the door.
Close the door.
We're just going to go. So
once things sort of calm down a little bit, Jonas is crackling and Danger collapses to the floor because the magic is just too much. But now the acrobat goes back over to the middle of the room.
Where her dad is
dead, so she could mourn her dead. But that's okay. That gives Tony time to wake up.
Which I made a note. She does the whole she drops down, still on her rope,
upside down,
and she
and the dad is
hugs
also
him, and then she the thing in movies where they put their hands over and close the eyes of the dead.
Yeah,
she does that, and his eyes stay closed even though he's upside down.
Yeah,
and that doesn't work that way.
How?
Anyway, and then she gets back she gets onto her feet after this. She's like, okay, I'm on the floor. It doesn't matter. JT snaps out of this and his face is totally fine now.
Yeah.
And he walks over to her and he stares at her very awkwardly for a long moment. And then he gives her this weird, awkward hug.
I have acrobat is grieving, but it's okay. Danger is here. And then, a helicopter's coming. Gotta go.
Beep, 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 beep. The pager beeps. The pager / walkie-talkie that hasn't... And it's the professor. Where are you? Stryker, where are you?
Where are you? Did you get the crowns?
Did you get the crowns? Over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And JT somehow blows up the window from here. He's got a device.
Oh, I think the magic did that.
During
the whole
I thought he
fiery,
fired
chaotic
something
scene.
at it. I just have a note.
Oh,
JT
he does
blows
fire
the window.
something at it.
So there's a dramatic explosion where shards of glass come crashing into the room.
Yeah.
And the whole time, the professor, Stryker, did you get the crowns? Did you get the crowns? And JT looks, I have JT as my notes now. Sorry.
Danger.
He looks down at these 2 stones and he's like, yeah, we got him. And he throws the stones onto the burning
under the
skeleton
of Jonas.
corpse of Jonas. And they walk out / go back up through the window. I'm not exactly sure how they got out of the building, but the next scene we see is the helicopter flying away with Tony Danger Tony and Liz the acrobat dangling about 30 feet below the helicopter.
Yep. Dramatic escape. All the people they're escaping from.
Everything's done. They probably could have walked out the front door.
They could have, and they could have gotten all those people and have been like, hey, he was lying to you. He's dead now.
Yeah.
You should leave.
You should probably just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like whatever guards weren't alive were just going to leave anyway.
Yeah.
So all the other people could be like, snap out of their little trance and be like, oh, I guess this was a scam.
Yeah.
Oops. Hope we can cancel that on our credit card. And that's the end of it with the helicopter flyaway scene.
But it's not. Because the next scene.
I can't.
We zoom in on a swamp.
Just weird.
Just like a swamp. And then,
but just like a close up of a swamp puddle.
dramatic music starts playing as something rises up out of the swamp.
That something just is a pile of swamp mud and water.
Yep.
And it breathes a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we fade to black.
And that's it.
So at the time of this recording, this movie was on Prime, but I think it's leaving Prime. So I hope that you guys can find it somewhere and definitely watch it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, by the time
we have given you the best of it, but
yeah, by the time this
definitely watch
episode comes out, it will no longer be on Prime because we did just find out that as of today, it only has 6 days left.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure when this episode is going to come out, but I'm sure you'll be able to
Probably
find
in
it
January.
somewhere.
Probably
somewhere.
when we go in January.
January.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be able to find it somewhere. It's an incredible classic, and it should definitely be enjoyed.
It is so ridiculous, but I love it. And I have a review from Roger Ebert.
Oh.
Guess how many stars he gave it out of 4?
Oh, man. I'm going to say 2.
3.5.
What?
3.5 stars. Or sorry, no, 2.5 stars.
2.5. Okay.
Out of 4. I love his review. I mean, I
bet he
kind of
watched
want
it in 3D.
Yes, he watched it in 3D.
I think
and
it would be a lot better in 3D.
Yeah. He made a rough checklist of things thrown at the audience.
Oh, this is awesome.
He says, knives, spears, darts, bones, jeweled daggers, balls of fire, laser beams, boulders, ropes, attack dogs, bats, shards of stained glass, a set of dishes, a large kettle, a stove, a corpse, a python snake, an empty glove, birds, both real and artificial, arrows, unidentifiable glowing objects shot from guns, keys, letter openers, several human heads, skeletons, large sections of an exploding castle, 1 bottle of booze, and assorted spoons.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. He only said 1 kettle, and I guess if he's only counting things thrown at the screen, that makes sense. But I feel like he missed all the exploding kettles in Rick the Kettle Collector's house.
Oh, yeah. There were a lot of exploding kettles.
So many. 2.5 stars. I'm impressed.
He then says, in the midst of this melee exists a plot hanging on for life about an age-old search for the secret of 4 crowns. Oh, man.
Yeah, there was a plot? I mean, there was loose, a very small one. It was good. I would give it 4 ravens. Because it was a trash pile.
Let's talk about our Raven rating system. This is out of how many?
I think 5. We're going to go with 5.
Okay. We like ravens. It's kind of our thing. And ravens like trash.
And carrion.
We decided when we do these movie reviews, we're going to do a Raven rating. So like the worse the movie is, the more ravens they get.
Oh, no. The worse it is, the better, because they love garbage.
So more ravens.
Oh.
4 out of 5 ravens would be
a really good movie. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 out of 5 is the best.
Okay. My brain is like
more
struggling
ravens
right now.
Yeah.
The more ravens, the better. This is a
Yes.
trash movie, and it's wonderful in its trashy horribleness.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 ravens.
Yeah. I think so.
I think if I could watch it in 3D, I might give it 5. But without 3D effects, without the glasses, without the capabilities, I think that's where
I don't know. With the 3D, I would give it a lower rating because I think it's more trashy.
Without it?
Okay.
Okay.
Because there are obviously scenes and shots that are specifically made for 3D that just don't track without 3D, and that makes the movie all the better.
Okay, yeah. Yes, I can agree with you on that. Yeah, it would. I do want to watch it in 3D somehow. I don't know how to ever do that.
I don't know.
But it's terrible, and I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
And this is the
yeah,
second or third time we've watched it.
This is the second time we've watched it.
And it's just amazing and wonderful and terrible.
Yeah. So if you've seen this movie before, tell us how many ravens you would get it. on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not a bad movie and 5 being a really bad movie, but in the bad way that we love. Does that make sense? Sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But wonderful at the same time. I loved it. And I feel like at some point I will probably watch it again just for, like, I could see myself, like, it's a rainy, cold day. I got nothing on. I sit curled up with some, hot coffee, hot chocolate or something.
Yeah.
I could watch this when I'm sick. Like, when
it could be a
you
good
can't
sick
sleep
movie.
anymore, but you can't really do anything else. So you're just kind of miserable on the couch and you just need something.
Yeah.
And you watch this.
Yeah.
And you feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
Because you weren't a part of it. You weren't involved in any form of the making of this movie. So
that makes you feel better about Yes.
Good times.
Yeah. So, okay, we hope
that's it.
You
the Treasure
guys,
of the Four Crowns with
yeah.
Tony Danger Tony.
We hope you liked our little movie review and synopsis. I say little. We've been recording for an hour and 40 minutes.
You can. Well, there was a lot of randomness in there.
Edit a lot of stuff out.
The cats. I think. I'm
can't
not sure the
record
cats in the room is going to work. I hope. I did get a little Zerin purrs coming through, so maybe you can isolate those.
Yeah.
He was chill for a little bit. I love him.
Yep. Anyway. Yeah. We'll be back again next week with more
actual podcast. And then probably in February when we're in LA, we'll drop another movie review.
Yeah. We're hoping to get another one recorded soon. So
we've got some downtime here while we're not working. So we're going to try to knock out a few episodes and a few more reviews. We have a list of movies. So if you have a terribly cheesy movie that you would like us to do a review / synopsis of,
email us.
Email us at jessandhids@gmail.com.
Yep. And if you want to support us and allow us to do more fun things, join our Patreon. You can find the link to our Patreon on our website, jessandhids.com, or you can go right to patreon.com/jessandhids and sign up to support us. And lowest tier is $3 a month, or you can pay for the full year. If you do that for all tiers, you get 15% off.
We do a lot of fun stuff at every tier, and our chaotics get access to quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we are excited.
But be a blade dancer if you can.
Yeah, be a blade dancer. That's where we get all the fun stuff.
You get fun merch.
We get merch. We do quarterly merch mailings, and we do a lot of sneak peeks, behind the scenes stuff. And this month, it'll be live by the time you hear this. We're kicking off our writing prompts in our Patreon.
That started
just something
in
to
January.
kind of kick some creativity up, and also doing some art prompts. So that's gonna be fun. So yeah, jump over there. We'd love to have you support us and make it possible for us to do more of this and less of our day-to-day jobs that we do enjoy. And
we'd love to have you as part of our community.
Yeah, we have an awesome community, both on Patreon and in our Facebook group.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun. It's growing, and we're enjoying getting to know people, talk and chat and have fun.
Yep.
I'm just going to keep rambling on until you tell me to shut up.
I'm just waiting for you to finish so we can sign off.
So yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.